to another edition of Focus for Education. We're back here at South School. Actually, we have not done a lot of shows recently at South School. The program that we're going to talk about today is the reading program. I think this is the third time we have looked at this program. We're going to get into a little more depth this time. And it is a district-wide program that we're going to talk about, but wanted to get back to South School and just show some of the environment around there. With us today is Brian Balke. And Brian, thanks for taking the time out of your busy morning to try and give us all an update on the program. One of the things that we always like to do in the show is when we bring on someone for the first time, just give our audience a little bit of a background on who Brian is.
Sure.
So we know who you are and what's your background.
Well, my name's Brian Balke. I'm the Director of Pupil Services. This is my 5th year in the school district, 2nd as the director, and love working in Londonderry. Grew up just down the road, so to speak, and really pleased to be a part of the team and working towards all the initiatives that we have here in Londonderry.
Right. Brian, we are doing our third show on reading because reading is so fundamental to everything else that goes on in education, and I know that there's been a lot of study, a lot of new programs that are on the verge of being implemented, as well as some that are in pilot stage. Tell us a little bit about the district's strategy on learning and reading, and why that's become such a focus.
Sure. Well, first and foremost, the district is very strongly philosophically committed to reading instruction and to literacy acquisition for all students, whether it's high-achieving students who need gifted and talented programs, or students who need specific remedial-based programs who might be struggling. The district is looking at current research, looking at utilizing information that's out there from the university level, from researchers, and really guiding and putting together a quality reading program. We really feel strongly that reading is the most important thing that we're teaching kids, primarily in the early grades. And the research shows and supports that by having appropriate, intensive, research-based programs for all kids in the early grades, it pays off later. When kids get into middle school and into high school, they have to read to learn. So if we don't teach them to read and teach them to be fluent readers who understand what they're reading, it really becomes a hindrance later on down the road. So we really feel that putting the resources, the personnel, and the time in when kids are in elementary grades really pays off down the road.
And the early work that you've done already, there's a lot more than just anecdotal evidence in DIBEL scores and kneecap scores. Tell us a little bit. I know we're going to talk to the classroom teachers,
sure.
But as a senior administrator, tell us a little bit about what you see in the progress there.
Well, I think on behalf of myself and certainly Mr. Blunt, the assistant superintendent, when we go through and analyze the assessment data that we are seeing tangible evidence of the benefits of the programming, just through the specific assessment measures that you just mentioned. But we're really seeing tangible growth that the programs that we put in place are having benefits for kids. So we're not just basing this on teacher observation and things like that. That we actually have assessment data that we can sort of show where the rubber hits the road.
Great. Why don't we get right to it and talk with some of the teachers and have them tell us about some of the programs they're implementing.
Great.
All righty. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, it was great hearing from Brian in terms of the key elements of the program in the district, but I think it's always best to hear directly from the teachers and the folks that are in the classroom directly with the students. And Brian has done a nice job of putting a panel together for us today of educators from South School. So before we even begin, I'd like them to just introduce themselves briefly and tell us a little bit about their specific disciplines.
I'm Ellen Montibello. I teach in the special ed department. I work with first graders and more involved older children.
I'm Diana Kelley, and I'm also a special educator, and I work with 3rd and 4th graders.
I'm Michele Brown, and I'm also a special educator, and I work with 2nd graders.
I'm Pat Taveller. I'm a special educator, and this year I work with 4th and 5th graders.
Ladies, I really want to thank you for taking the time today. I was absolutely amazed. when I had the chance to get into each of your classrooms and see some of the great things that are going on with your students. And as I thought about reading from my perspective as a layperson, and they may not quite cringe a little bit at this example, but what I took away from all the great things that are going on, there is so much underlying the basic skill of reading, and to me the analogy was getting into my car as I left to drive away, and just getting in the car and just doing it without thinking about the many things that are involved. Opening the door, getting in the seat, adjusting the seat, putting the key in the lock, turning it, all of those things, because we do it so much and so often, it just becomes rote. And I think for many of us thinking about learning, it is the same way, but there is so much more science and so much more learning that has gone on, and clearly we demonstrated that in the classroom with you. And I think really what I understand is that there are really basically 5 core elements that underlie the skill of reading. Is that?
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's true. One of the main elements is just the whole phonetic awareness, which is understanding and identifying the sounds for each letter and the symbols, learning the symbols and what they mean, and then putting the sounds to it, and then combining them all together.
Nice job. Okay.
It's amazing. We've had wonderful success. Good news.
Let's go back to the 2. What's this one? What's this picture? Bow. What's the first sound you hear in bow? Bow? You don't like that?
Build on to that.
Good job. And what's the last sound you hear in bow? Bow. Oh. Nice job. What sound? Yeah. Good job.
The second element of reading is phonics, and phonics is the blending of sounds together to make words, and this is where the students learn the rules of short and long vowel sounds and the vowel buddies. The third element is fluency, and that's where the student is reading groups of words together. The reading becomes more natural, like you talk, not decoding each word as you read, and this is usually measured in words per minute.
All right, are you set? You can start reading, and when you're ready, go ahead.
If you think you get hungry after school, you should meet the hungry python to know what a big appetite is all about. With its large, loose jaws, this giant snake will swallow anything up to 120 pounds. They have been known to swallow a pig in one gulp, as well as a whole leopard. The python, which can grow up to be 33 feet long, kills by tightening its claws around the victim until it stops breathing. After each large meal, the snake will resist quietly for a few days to digest the food. Eating such huge meals has its problems too. Some pythons suffer from first-class stomach aches when such hard things as porcupine quills and antelope horns tear holes in their stomachs. Luckily for you...
And stop. Nice job. Excellent. Okay.
The fourth element is vocabulary, and this is where the students begin putting meaning to the words. This area is often overlooked. It does need direct instruction and practice. Teachers or parents often assume that the students understand what the words that they're reading.
Read the word for me.
Admire.
And what does that mean?
Like, to look up to. Like,
Very good.
Autograph, like their signature.
Very good.
keen.
Ooh, what does keen mean?
I'm
very
excited.
Close and
enthusiastic.
Yeah, we're very happy about it, very enthusiastic.
And the fifth element of reading is comprehension, and that's reading many words together to put understanding to what is read, both concrete and inferential reasoning.
Maybe I better sort of disappear in the crowd. Otis thought But before he had a chance, Austin stopped him. She scooped up a handful of snow, waded it into a
Waited. Try that again.
wadded it, it into a ball and threw it through. Otis ducked too late. The snowball slammed against his shoulder. Some of the skates in the crowd laughed.
Within that, there's also, I think, just what I have learned with just my own daughter as she was growing up and has long since gone through the system. There are many, many different kinds of learners. From those that are visual learners, those that need developmental type learning, and these programs I think that we're going to talk about today really address the many, many different learning styles. And after a significant amount of research and work within the district has employed a new core reading program, and again, I think the Scott Forsman program is really what underlies the basic of the core reading program, which is for all students. Is that correct?
Right. The district groups students into 3 groups: Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3. Tier 1 is the general education learners, and they are going to be using, starting next year, the Scott Forsman program. It's the core program that will be used in all the regular ed classrooms.
They're telling you to do something a little bit different here. They're telling you that the context clue around the word will help you, but they're also going to tell you what it means later on in the sentence. Okay? So if you look on page 491, you see all the yellow highlighted words. What does that mean when a word is highlighted or bold-faced? Allie?
It's a vocabulary word.
And it is?
Important.
It's important. Okay. So we're going to start to read. It's not all in the family, and we're going to try to figure out some of these words that we might need help with. You want to pick somebody to help you?
How they are different.
What are different?
How reptiles are different from amphibians.
Okay. And we had that discussion yesterday, didn't we?
Yeah.
When we were talking about our vocabulary words, some of us were getting confused about amphibians and reptiles and how they were the same and how they were different, and we were just making predictions. And I said that we would figure it out by the end of the week when the story is done, and this is the first part of us figuring all of that out. So some of you might be stumped. It's okay.
Tier 2 are for students who need a little more extra help to gain those skills in reading. They have a little bit more of a in-depth program. They use other resources besides just the Scott Forsman program. And then Tier 3 children are the ones who need intense direct instruction. And for these children, we have a variety of different programs that meet different types of learning styles, different types of learners, and takes advantage of their strengths and weaknesses. They're much more individual programs.
Okay. And just as there are different types of learners, and we use many, many metrics to look at our progress and look at where our weaknesses are, whether that be a combination of the Iowa tests, the kneecaps, and Dibble scores, and we're seeing dramatic improvement in all of those. And I think that's probably attributed to the many strategies that you're employing. Probably the vast majority of the people that are watching the show and are familiar with the core program. Tell me a little bit about the level 2 type of services that get employed.
Well, actually, students that I work with work in a regular literature grouping where they might be working in chapter books and answering questions and writing from there, and they also get extra help improving their fluency and their accuracy and their decoding. So that's kind of a tier 2 where they're working both classroom and specialized reading programs.
And then the tier 3 are really, as I asked, the most intensive need and the most, and to me, some of the most exciting work that I saw going on. A lot of manipulatives, a lot of computer assisted education being directed by the classroom teacher. Tell us a little bit about some of those programs.
Well, there are many of them. Some of the most frequently used programs are the SRA programs,
which would start at the lowest level with the reading mastery. And there are 2 separate levels to that.
Sound it out. Get ready. We're going to sound it out. Last. Let's say it the fast way. Last. Good job. Get ready. We're going to sound it out. Every. Again. Every. What word? Every. Good job. Sound it out. Again. And. What word? Tent. Good. Sound it out.
And that works on phonemic awareness and decoding at a very basic level. And then we step up to the corrective reading programs. There are 3 levels of that as well. 4 levels. 4 levels of that as well. And that progresses from around 3rd grade up through the middle school.
Touch the first word in column A. What word?
Spend.
Next word?
Speed.
Column B. What word?
Bolt.
Next word?
Boat.
Good, very good. Column C?
Tart.
Good. Next word?
Tail.
The other program that we started using for the Tier 2 is also the Sidewalks program. It's the remedial program that goes along with the core Scott Forsman program. So some of the teachers can use that in their classroom, working with these Tier 2 or Tier 3 children. And also we're using that also for a few of the children. It seems to work well in Tier 3.
So they're getting the topics and the areas that the children in the regular education classroom are getting, just more at their level. So they're still accessing the same area of curriculum.
It's a great way to integrate their curriculum. So when they're in the regular classroom doing their reading group with their teacher, the materials look the same. They're studying the same skills that the rest of the children are doing, but just at their level. So it's really nice because they don't stand out from anybody else. They all are doing the same skills.
So same, excellent.
And they're also being exposed to some of the same vocabulary. So when they hear the words, you know, it might not be at the same level, but at least they're all on the same understanding platform. So they can share their ideas when they're in the regular classroom too.
And I know I saw a lot of great stuff, which I know we're going to be showing some of the clips. I know particularly in your room, a lot of computer assisted and a lot of, and again, I'm sure I'm not going to, I would call pictograms and things that the students were using to help them decode and to help them learn very different from basic phonics. Tell us a little bit about some of the, I mean, those are really exciting, I think, just innovative uses of technology to get to a core program.
It is. It's a lot of fun. Some learners, most learners use the phonics system to learn, and it's wonderful. Some learners who just aren't able to integrate all those phonics skills, be able to put them all together, don't always do well in the phonics program. These are learners who are pretty significantly sometimes below grade level reading, and we go with a sight word approach for them. It needs a lot of visual memory. So a lot of these programs, like the Edmark program, has a computer component and a written component. And the children love the computer component. It's a lot of repetition of seeing the words, finding the words, saying the words, reading the words, and it's very predictable program. Thank you. And they just progress right through it. They know the same games, new words. And they build a sight word vocabulary that is also used in reading materials in the written part of the program, which is wonderful. I have readers who have progressed tremendously from being non-readers, just knowing their phonemic awareness stuff, but not able to put all that into reading, to children who are reading on, 2nd, 3rd grade levels now, using it. We also just got a new program, your pictogram program, I guess. It's called PixWriter, and we use it for the older children for comprehension. So it's some of these older children who don't have the reading ability of their grade level, but they may have the comprehension. So we take the literature books that they're reading in their classroom. Right now, one of my groups is doing Winn-Dixie. They're reading it in the classroom and in my room. After each chapter, they come in and we have a computer program that has all the vocabulary and pictures down at the bottom of the screen. And then the children are expected to answer questions and hopefully write a summary as the final goal of that chapter. And they may not have the typing skills. Writing might be very difficult, but with this program, they just need to click on the pictures and it will write it for them. And then they can go back and listen to it. So maybe their sentence doesn't sound quite right and they can't notice. They can listen to it. It's like, oh, that doesn't sound right. I need to change it. So it's been a wonderful tool for writing and comprehension in our reading program for our 4th and 5th graders.
Yeah, that was, I saw that program, Winn-Dixie's the dog, if I
Yeah.
remember right.
Yes.
So my comprehension is
Yeah,
pretty good, huh?
very good,
Okay.
very good, you pass.
And it just seems that, again, looking in, it has got to relieve a lot of the frustration that the student might otherwise be going through if they're just sitting in a core class and not getting it, so to speak, and falling behind. And it just seemed in all of your classes, it just seemed the students were so engaged in what I saw.
And by the time they get to 4th and 5th grade, they know when they're not doing grade level work. And with this program, it enables them to do grade level work even though their reading ability may be significantly below grade level. And they are so proud. I had a little girl who was just beaming when she walked into the class and gets, I get to read this book too? I can do this? And it's like, yes, you can. So it was awesome.
And one of the other things with that is oftentimes children who have a difficult time learning to read, writing is also a very difficult task because they really do go hand in hand. And, you may understand it, but then the whole process of figuring out what you want to say and getting it from your head to your hand to the paper so it makes sense, that's a very difficult process for many of the children that we work with. So they may be, some of them, the comprehension is okay at their level, but the whole writing process, and so much of what a lot of teachers ask in the regular classroom is that written component, and that is very stressful for many of our kids. So doing a program that Ellen is using, that relieves it and it makes it that they can be very successful.
It takes away all the motor control
Skills,
problems. It also takes away the decoding and spelling issues, and it takes a lot of the visual process down of keeping on the lines, keeping the space. That way, all they have to worry about when they write is the content.
In your class, we saw a lot of what I saw as building on. You'd start with a word, you'd work your way through it, you'd go to sentences, you'd change the word around and have them find it. Again, to me, what I was seeing was a lot of repetition, a lot of building. Is that, tell us a little bit about exactly what we're seeing from the educational standpoint in your classroom.
Well, what you saw was the SSRA Corrective Reading Comprehension Program, and that is a lot of oral exercise, and it works on building that vocabulary and inductions and deductions and all of those types of things. And we do, within the program, there is so much practice and repetition because that really is what our students need to master a skill.
If an object is made to take things places, what do you know about that object?
It is a vehicle.
There you go. Now listen. If an object is made to hold things, what do you know about that object?
It is a container.
There you go. Excellent. Next exercise already. Protect means guard. What does protect mean?
Guard.
What word means guard?
Protect.
Good. Listen. The woman will protect her jewels. The woman will protect her jewels. Say that.
The woman will protect her jewels.
Good. Now say that sentence with a different word for protect.
The woman will guard her jewels.
Good, listen. The woman will guard her jewels. Say it.
The woman will guard her jewels.
There really is, in all of what we do education-wise, there's got to be a partnership between the school and the family. How can we as parents best support what you're doing?
I think just one of the things is we have most, I know most all of us have, and most of the regular classes have part of their homework assignment is a reading log, or where you're supposed to read 15 or 20 minutes a night. And I think the best thing is that parents make sure that that happens, and either with the younger children, it doesn't necessarily mean that we expect them to read, because we know that they can't, but even if they're read to by mom or dad or big sister or whoever is with them, that counts as reading, because that's where the process starts, is modeling. And so even with the younger children, if they're read to and that gets written on their reading log, and have mom and dad be active learners and teachers with them, and then as they grow older, make sure, listen to them read. I think that's one of the big things that parents can do, and just expose them to reading.
To try to find, for the older students, to try to find something that's short but high interest, something based on social studies or science, something that they'll enjoy, very short, quick reading, so that they can understand what they're reading and enjoy it at the same time.
Have some success and enjoy it, and just the challenge of the success will create more challenge, right?
And another thing that parents can do too is anytime that either you read to your child or they read to you, is ask them some of the very common questions, just to encourage their comprehension, like the who, the what, the how, and the why, and just expand on that and get that from the children. That really helps with their comprehension.
Yeah, I think if you do any of that, it just I remember just again back to Winn-Dixie, and all of the kids in there, that the kids have got such vivid imaginations that if you just trigger them, you can just send them off into great directions. So great. I really appreciate you taking the time to share with our viewers the program that you're doing, the great work that you're doing for all of our students. The success is really, it is evident in the numbers in the tests, but it's even more evidence, I think, in the just in the expressions and the attitudes and the engagement of the students that we see in your classrooms. So it's a great thing that you do every day, and thank you for that as well as for today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Brian, it was exciting to see what was going on in the classroom with the students, and to actually talk with the teachers that are delivering the services. We're kind of at the pilot level right now, as I understand it. Tell us a little bit about what you see for the next school year and beyond here in the district.
Well, the next steps would be that we will have the full implementation of the core reading program next year. This will be our going into our third year, I believe, of really next year looking at the core reading program with the 3-tier model. So we will continue to refine the different services that you saw in the classroom for different kinds of kids. And the nice thing is our teachers really have a variety of tools in their toolbox that they can use instructionally to hand tailor to meet the needs of kids. So we'll have the implementation of the core reading program, the continued refinement of the model in terms of how services are being delivered, and really just continuing on down that road.
Ryan, I look forward to kind of coming back and looking at next year and beyond to see the improvements. I want to thank both you and Mark and the superintendent for your leadership, and again, thank you to the teachers for the great work they're doing in delivering to our students.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time today, and thank you for watching. Reading is so fundamental to understanding, and the support that you, the community, give to the schools, both through your financial contribution as well as your support of your children, is just making a huge difference. I think it is making Londonderry the community that it is. Thank you for watching, and look forward to the next show.